Alright guys, what's going on today? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going over the new Boruto episode 196, The Binding Force. There's a lot of stuff in this episode. Somewhat's been changed from the manga, not as much. Now, this goes to the manga chapter 29. And next episode and next chapter is the beginning of the Delta fight. And there's a lot of juicy stuff in this episode. So let's get down to it. Now, have you guys seen the beginning of this episode? You can see that Koji infiltrates the village and he leaves Delta behind, and Caution Koji goes on about his business. So then the next part is in the Uzumaki household. You see Kawaki looking at the table. Now in the manga, Kawaki has a flashback of Boruto saying, yo, you gotta fix that. In this, he's just staring at it. He's not really thinking it. Then he looks over to Boruto and he sees him playing games. And the thing they added here as to the manga is Sarada and Mitsuki. Now Sarada and Mitsuki come over, they go inside the house, and then Mitsuki talks to Kawaki and he tries handshaking him and he doesn't want to. And you can see Mitsuki sneaks doing a little, wave. And Kawaki's like, why do I have to handshake with you? And then you can see Sarada is staring at him. And Mitsuki's like, yeah, we're here to spy on Kawaki. And Sarada, she's like, what are you saying, Mitsuki? We're not supposed to be saying that. And you can see she gets all worked up. Now, this part here, I'm going to go in a little detail on it. All right, this is not a kawasara moment. Okay, I know she gets flustered. You can see that. But she isn't blushing or anything. You can see usually when an anime character blushes, you have the two, blushes on their cheeks. In this, her cheeks were completely normal. All right, if you look at previous anime episodes, even back in the 20 episodes, when Mitsuki's like, you two make a great couple, they both get flustered, they both get embarrassed and start blushing. In this, she did not blush. I just want to point that part out. I know there's a lot of people saying, oh, it's kawasara, this and that. No. I'm a borusara guy. I'm biased towards that. I don't care. That's my opinion on it. I just wanted to share that part. Like I said, to me, that part doesn't feel kind of right. I don't know why they made her worked up. But then again, her whole point is to watch Kawaki. All right, there's a reason why they came over. In the manga, these two didn't even come over at all. In this, they came over to purposely watch Kawaki. And then she has flashbacks of Kawaki almost attacking a little kid and him breaking the vase and freaking out. That's why she told Mitsuki, let's go watch him just in case. She looks at Boruto and then sees that he's carefree. He doesn't worry much about it. She walks up to Boruto and tells him, like, aren't we supposed to be watching Kawaki? And he's like, yeah, he's somewhere around here, blah, blah, blah. I don't think Boruto really cares. You can see in that scene that Boruto doesn't really, give two flying F's. So then Naruto comes out. Naruto's like, here, let's have a sparring match. As Naruto walks in, he's like, Boruto, you ready to do this? He's like, yeah. He's like, hold on, just give me a second. He's finishing up his game or whatever. But he's like, I'll spar with you. And then Himawari teases him. He's like, oh, you're happy to go with dad. And you can see Boruto gets all worked up and Hinata smiles as well. So, that's kind of like an Uzumaki moment in the house, I guess you could say. But yeah, Mitsuki and Sarada came over to watch Kawaki. And like I said, that scene still gets me. All right, now I don't want them building up no Kawasara moments. Like I said, I'm biased towards Borusara a bit, so I'm just going to say that. Like, I don't mind them, gaining friendship and everything. Their whole point is to become friends with Kawaki. That's the reason for last episode is Sarada to become friends with Kawaki, and Mitsuki in this episode tried to become friends with Kawaki, and Kawaki kind of shut Mitsuki down when he tried handshaking him. So anyways, on to the next scene. They go on to the training field where Naruto versus Boruto. Boruto goes against Naruto, but Naruto, whoops his ass. And then Kawaki's like, let me help you out. Kawaki activates his karma seal, and then it resonates with Boruto's. Now, in the manga, this part is completely different. Like I said, in the anime, you have Mitsuki and Sarada there, but in the manga, they're not there at all. And it's Himawari and Kawaki. When karma activates in the manga, you can see that Boruto says the karmas are both resonating with each other. And they got rid of that part in the anime. Instead, it's Mitsuki and Sarada that say they're both resonating with each other. And then when Boruto's karma activates, you can see Sarada gets all worried for a second. She's like, I think we should stop this right now. Remember what happened with Caution Koji last time? When Boruto's karma activated and Boruto fainted completely. She was worried there. Now, this is a Borusara kind of moment because she remembers that part and she knows what happened to Boruto and she helped him after he went down. All right, I just want to point that out. All right, don't get me wrong. Every small scene is not a Borusara Kawasara moment. I just want to say that. But yeah, he has the flashbacks of that episode and she instantly, thinks of what happened. Then Boruto and Naruto fight with the karma seal and they use Shadow Clone, all sorts of stuff. And even Kawaki mentioned Shadow Clone. And in the manga, it was both Himawari Himawari and Kawaki talking about Shadow Clone, and Himawari tells Kawaki that the Shadow Clone is both of their specialties and Boruto mastered as well. He's like, that's a useful jutsu. The fight goes on and Naruto sees that Boruto's so much stronger, and Boruto uses the thunderclap, and Kawaki's like, yeah, karma gives you much more powers. And even Mitsuki and Sarada notice that his power output's increased, which then Naruto and Boruto do the unison seal, and then they end the fight, and Kawaki questions what the unison seal is, and it's like a small little sparring match, it's like a ritual between two shinobis and stuff like that. So then the scene cuts out to Sarada and Mitsuki walking around. Boruto's gotten so much stronger, because then she has a flashback of Boruto using lightning, which gives her the idea that now she could learn Chidori. I can't be losing. She's like, Boruto's gotten stronger, I can't stay behind. That gives good character development to Sarada, where now she's being foreshadowed of learning the Chidori, which goes on to later chapters. I'll explain that later. I'm gonna go do heavy training with my dad again. Now, like I was saying, this part goes on to chapter 40s to 43 when they fight Boro in the manga. I'm not gonna spoil anything. Sarada learned the Chidori and she used it against Boro in that chapter. You can see Boruto was surprised that she learned Chidori. She's like, when did you learn that? And she's like, I've been training with my dad. And now this goes back to this episode where she learns the Chidori, where she asked Sasuke at the end, she's like, teach me Chidori. Because Sasuke told her once she gets a 2 tomo, then he'll teach her, Chidori. So now this basically foreshadows her training. This foreshadows that the anime will be catching up to the manga chapter 40s, because they will have to go by pretty quick though. Because we're already at chapter 30. When the Kawaki arc started, we're back at chapter 16 and stuff. Now we're just starting chapter 30 with next week's episode. It's almost been 1 episode per chapter roughly. But if we're at chapter 30s and the Boro fight's at chapter 40, then there's 10 episodes roughly. But I think the Boro fight's gonna happen around episode 215 or so and 220. We gotta see the Sasuke, Naruto, and Jigen fight, which happens around chapter 37 and stuff, 38. So we gotta see that stuff go down, which I think that stuff's gonna take place in another 10 weeks or so. So I think about 3 months from now. So roughly, I think about around July or August, we're gonna see the Sasuke and Jigen fight. Maybe a bit earlier, maybe around, I think, middle of July. And then end of this year, we're going to see the Boro fight. Sarada's Chidori has been, foreshadowed right here. And remember, she thinks of Boruto as a rival. She doesn't look at Kawaki as anything. She thinks of Boruto as a rival. As back in episode 20s, when Konohamaru tells her that, it's good to have a rival, especially if you're going to become a Hokage. And he's like, Boruto's a good rival for you, since he might become a Hokage too. But Boruto said he doesn't want to become Hokage. But she still sees Boruto as a rival. And all the episodes that have been done, basically rivals against each other. Now Kawaki enters a picture. Now I don't know how this is gonna turn out, but anyways, that's enough with that. Let's get on to the rest of the part. And you see Kawaki's back in the Uzumaki household, and he has flashbacks of him and Jigen, and how Jigen used to beat him up when he asked him questions and everything, and how Jigen's like, you're empty, you're hollow, you don't have a heart, and he's like, no matter what you do, there'll still be a hole in your heart. They're doing some Obito reference back in Shippuden when Obito's like, I don't have a heart, after Kakashi stabbed him. And he's like, I don't have nothing there. And he shows Kakashi his heart. There's nothing. This kind of relates to that. So then Kawaki enters Naruto's work office, which is in his house. And he sits down on the couch. And you can see Kawaki just patiently staring at Naruto. And Naruto's like, do you have a question you want to ask me? And Kawaki shook there. Because this goes back to where Jigen was saying, he's like, you're not allowed to ask any questions. Be quiet. And he kept hitting him every time, he tried to ask him a question. So he thought Naruto was going to do the same thing. That's why he waited on Naruto to reply. But Naruto's like, you have a question, just ask me. You can see Jigen and Naruto are the two opposites. They're basically like a yin and yang type thing. They're basically dark and light. They're complete opposites of each other, of what is being shown. And you can see Naruto and Kawaki's relationship being built up every episode. So anyways, Kawaki then sits down and he asks him, he's like, is Boruto always like that? You guys sparring and everything? He's like, yeah, Boruto's always like that. And he's like, yeah, the spars are basically between two ninjas, and you basically learn a lot. He's like, the Shadow Clone Jutsu is pretty useful. And Naruto's like, yeah, it's really benefit in battle and everything. And he's like, and it has other benefits too, like hitting yourself. And this is when Boruto's at the door listening, because Boruto saw on the kitchen table that Kawaki didn't pick up the glue. So he goes to Naruto's office, but then he overhears Kawaki talking about how he wants to hit himself with shadow clones. And Naruto's like, trust me, that won't work. He's like, the best thing you can do is get friends. Because I guess they're showing mentality, they're showing Kawaki can fix his mental state if he gets friends. The Kawaki's like, how are you so sure about that? He's like, I'm living proof of that. He's like, I got friends and everything. He's like, I did the Shadow Clone thing and I'm living proof. You can see Boruto has a little moment there and he thinks back. And you can see Boruto, kind of knows what his dad's been through. Now, they missed an opportunity here with showing the time travel arc. They showed how Boruto and Naruto were interacting back in episode 120s when they had the time travel arc. This would have been a good point. But at the same time, you can see the anime is purposely avoiding any of the flashbacks. I'm gonna be honest, I know they're anime canon fillers, but at the same time, it's like kind of fillers, you know, if they're not really hinting back at that stuff. Anyways, Boruto walks away and Naruto gives Kawaki a little lecture about, you know, his chakra and ninjutsu and all that sort of stuff. And then he's basically tells him, I'll teach him. Even with Jigen beating up Kawaki, that stuff is a bit different in the manga than it is in the anime. In the manga, he doesn't tell Kawaki, don't ask me any questions. He just tells him to get up and tell him he's hollow, all sorts of that stuff. But the anime said, you know, the parts where you can't ask me any questions. Why are you keep asking me questions, you know, and stuff like that. I guess they wanted to add that to show Naruto's, you know, caretaking towards Kawaki. So then the episode ends with Kawaki going outside and he gets the vase and he decides to fix it. And that's when Kashin Koji is looking at Kawaki. And Kashin Koji's like, oh, I finally found you, Kawaki. As I stated in my last video with the episode 195 review, is that the vase represents Kawaki's heart. Now look at that. Kawaki finally got the vase and he's going to start fixing it. You'll see by chapter 33, 34, which I think is maybe 5-6 episodes in the anime, you'll see Kawaki fully repairs the vase. Alright, so if Kawaki fully repairs the vase, that means that his heart's been filled. That gap in his heart has been filled. I don't want to spoil it. I'll get into that stuff later on in future episodes because the manga, we're not caught up to the manga point yet. But yeah, that represents Kawaki's heart roughly, and how when he first went to the Uzumaki household, his heart was all empty, shattered, and that's why he broke the vase. The vase represents him repairing his heart over time. But yeah, this is what I think of this episode. This is me giving a bit detailed review on this episode. There's some stuff I didn't like, some stuff I did, but like I said, they added quite a bit of stuff that wasn't in the manga, which gave a good backstory. I like that Sarada and Mitsuki came over and they saw Boruto and Naruto's fight match, because that gives, you know, some character development. Both of them seeing Boruto's karma seal and how they're both worried as soon as they activated. So yeah, we'll see where stuff goes from there. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe. Stay tuned for my future videos. Now, next week's episode starts off with the Delta fight. You know, we'll get into that. So anyways, peace out.